My living room is starting to feel a little too light, bright, and airy. I need some darkness, I need some contrast, I need some drama. I like how I'm saying that and I've got black built-ins behind me. This is the part in every DIY where I'm like, well, I ripped my house apart. Guess I gotta figure out how to put it back together again. Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. This week, I'm continuing on with my living room and entryway makeover. But this time around, I am finally getting to the entryway part of this makeover. If you are new to my channel, this is part 5 of this makeover series. And up until now, all of my projects have been geared more towards my living room, but now finally, I am getting started on the entryway part of this makeover. And since I painted my living room white, this entryway has felt extra blah to me because it's now white walls with a white door, well, a dirty white door, and white railings. So there is no contrast, there's no depth, there's no warmth, there's no design, and I desperately need to change that. So with all of that being said, let's get into it and let's start this entryway makeover. Welcome to my entryway. If you're new to my channel, my entryway is a little small. It's a little awkward, and that is because I have a split level entry. So when you walk through the door, we got stairs coming up and we have stairs going down. And for the longest time, I left this entryway alone because I just didn't know what I wanted to do with the area. But more recently, I built a 7-inch deep faux apothecary shoe cabinet. I love that shoe cabinet, and I really think it changed the space for the better and gave me a sense of like what was possible with this entryway. And in my design video, this was another area I was tossing around 2 different ideas. Option 1 was taking the staircase and the railing and everything black. Option 2 was taking everything kind of like a dark tan. And I think in my design video, this was the section that I got the most amount of comments about. A lot of people were in favor of a black staircase because they know me, they know I love black and I love dark and moody designs. But also they were saying they liked black because they liked the fact that it balanced out my black built-ins on the other side of the room, which I agree with. That was one of the main reasons I loved the idea of taking this entryway dark. But a ton of people were not in favor of a black staircase and black railings because they thought it was too dark and would close in the space. And a lot of them were saying that because of what I said in the design video, where I mentioned I have a very wooded property. We don't get a ton of natural sunlight. But 2 comments really stuck out to me in the design video. The first comment was something along the lines of just take this makeover one project at a time and then kind of make your decisions as you go. And that has definitely been my plan all along. So ever since I painted this room white, it has completely changed this room and it is so much brighter. And so it made me a lot more confident in my decision to take this entryway black. I mean, we all knew it was gonna happen. It's me. I love black. I'm gonna use it if I can and if I can justify it. But then the other comment that I saw was something along the lines of like, I don't like the idea of a black entryway because your spindles are too thick and chunky. And I agreed with that as well. So I got online, did a little bit of research to figure out how cheaply I could replace these spindles. And to my surprise, for roughly 120 bucks, I'm able to replace all of my spindles with thin black metal balusters. Yay! So that is my plan. I am taking this entryway dark, but I think with these thin black metal balusters, it's going to really open up this space and actually get more light into this entryway, even though this entryway now is a lot lighter because of the white walls. So my plan for today is to do a little bit of demo and see what I'm working with. So I'm gonna get my couch moved out of the way and let's get to work. So obviously I'm gonna get started with these spindles. I'm getting started with these spindles because I have cats and I know they would be ding-dongs if I just left a nice big open gap by the stairs where there's a bigger drop. Whereas over here, there's less of a drop, so I'm not as afraid to leave this side open. And in an ideal world, I would cut these back and there would be a nice hole up in this railing where I can stick the new spindles that I got. But I've done a lot of DIYs and I know that very rarely am I gonna work with an ideal situation. So I am gonna get started cutting these spindles back, seeing what I'm working with, and I'm using my multi-tool. No going back now, we've already committed. Here goes nothing. I'm just gonna start with this middle spindle because it's sitting right here. You know what? I wonder if my jigsaw would be easier. Oh, okay. Nice. Now what are we dealing with down here? 3 nails right there. Okay, so there's actually no hole, which I kind of was anticipating because nothing's ever easy. I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but we'll figure it out. It's okay, it'll be fine. Not a big deal. Wow, that just popped right out. And done. This is the part in every DIY where I'm like, well, I ripped my house apart. Guess I gotta figure out how to put it back together again. I'm a little stumped right now, guys. Not gonna lie, little stumped, but we'll figure it out. It's gonna be great. So in the video I watched, they were working with like round spindles, and so when they removed it, there was nice round holes that they could just stick the new spindles into. Well, of course, I am not dealing with that, because why would it be easy? I have these like squares on the bottom edge of this railing, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to cover those up. The 2 options I'm tossing around is either just doing a new railing, which I kind of didn't want to do because I don't know how expensive that's gonna be. And then the other thing I was tossing around is doing some kind of like thin board that like I attach to the bottom half to cover up all of these squares, which is something I'm kind of leaning more towards. The other thing that I am stumped on is because for some reason, I think in the video I watched, if I remember correctly, it just kind of screwed into the ground and then you could tighten the new spindle to this, but that's not the case. So I have to figure out what I was thinking or if I have to get something new. So I think what I'm gonna do is just clean up, do a little bit of research, and then if I have to like run to like Lowe's or Home Depot to get something, that's what I'll have to do. We'll figure it out. It's gonna be great. I did a little bit of research and I think I finally found the thing that is gonna make getting these spindles installed super duper nice and easy. Okay, so this is called angle connector or adjustable angle connector. Basically what it does is it can stick into the bottom of the spindle, and then I can slide the spindle into place, and then I can use screws to attach it to the floor and have that shoe that I have come down and cover up the connector. This will make it so that I don't have to drill out holes in the floor. Now I just have to figure out what I want to do for the bottom half to cover up all of these squares. I'm thinking I'm just gonna try to find a board to get this covered up. I think that's gonna look the nicest. So what I think I'm gonna do is get this railing measured and then head to Lowe's and try to find something that is going to cover this up. I might check out how expensive it is to get a new railing, but I'm gonna try to do the more budget-friendly route, or at least I'm assuming it's more budget-friendly. 83, 43 and a half, 35, 21 and a quarter. Let's go to the store. I just got to Lowe's. I brought a spindle with me. I'm not sure if this is gonna be helpful, but it might be. I don't know. So I'm gonna head inside and see what I can find. There's gotta be something in this aisle. something like super thin. I don't want to add too much to the bottom half. Okay, after looking around for about 10 minutes, I finally came across this trim. It has a nice angled edge, so when I lay it flat underneath, it'll actually create like a nice look to the underside of the railing. This is definitely the best option, and it's wood, so it's gonna be really nice to drill into. I think I need like 2 or 3 of these. Need this. I hope this trim looks nice. I think it will. Yeah. I think it will. I am gonna call it a day and get started fixing up these railings first thing in the morning. See you guys tomorrow. Good morning, Clyde Kitty. Hey, Feral. Stop that, I love you. Good morning, guys. I have come up with a game plan for this project. So since I have to wait a few days for those connector pieces to arrive, that means I have to wait a few days to get these new spindles installed. And I've come up with a plan to get everything with the railings like prepped and primed and ready to go, so that when those connector pieces do arrive, all I have to do is cut down the new spindles and get them installed. So that means I want all of the railings primed and painted and all of that stuff. So the first thing that I need to do today is get this trim piece that I got yesterday cut down and installed. So I'm gonna quickly head outside, get it cut down, and we can go from there. Collide, that was not nice behavior. Hey, okay, let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. This is exactly what I was looking for. Something kind of flat and not super obvious that I just added trim to the bottom of this railing. That's exactly what I wanted. So before I go ahead and get this installed, what I need to do is mark out where I need to drill out the holes for the new spindles. And I want the new spindles to match up exactly where the old spindles used to be. The only reason I need to make sure that this is super precise is because I want the new spindles, the shoe, this is a shoe, it goes at the bottom of the spindle, and it can also go at the top, but I want that to line up exactly where the old spindles were so that it's covering up all of these nail holes. I do plan on doing some sanding to get rid of some of this glue and paint, but I want the nail holes and everything to get covered up. So I'm gonna mark out the holes before I get this piece installed. Let's do that. Okay, I'm putting some painter's tape down so that I can mark out on the painter's tape, because then I won't have any splitting when I do drill these holes. I just marked out all of my center X's that I have to drill out, and now I can go ahead and get this attached. And every center X is exactly 4 5/8 away from each other. So we're good. Okay, so now that I have this trim piece attached, it looks very nice, and I think once everything's painted, you're not even gonna be able to tell. There's a trim piece right here. So I'm gonna quickly go ahead and do some cleanup work. I'm gonna caulk along the edges. I'm gonna fill in those nail holes that I just made, and then I am going to sand this railing, and then we can move on to the railings and the spindles over on this side. Okay guys, so this railing for the most part is prepped and ready to go for priming. I just have to let the spackle and the caulk sit for a while. So while I let that sit, I'm gonna get to work removing these spindles. Caught it, yay! So this last section, I'm gonna do something kind of interesting, but you know, I just love my cats and I don't want them to get hurt. So because I can't put the new spindles in place for a few days, I am going to just cut about 6 to 10 inches from the from the top, just remove the top piece so that I can get, you know, prep the railing, but I'm gonna leave the bottom half on and not remove it because I just don't want my cats to be ding-dongs and get hurt. I realize cats can like jump and fall from high places, but my cats do not jump and fall from high places. So I love my kitties and I don't want them to get hurt. Guys, so I just finished doing all of that and one of the runners, well, one of the options that I got for runners for the stairs arrived. That is also one of the other reasons I went with black, because I knew that I could go with a runner that would add some of that tan into this entryway. So I felt like black with a tan runner was kind of like the best of both worlds. So this is option 1. It is the beige option. I ordered this same runner in brown as well, so it's a little bit darker, and it's like brown and white. It's durable, and I obviously need durable since this is going in my entryway and people are gonna be walking up and down these stairs. But I just wanna see what this looks like. Oh, I like that, especially with black. Oh, that's gonna look really nice. Hold on, let me move you guys so you can actually see it. I really like this. I can picture this with black and how like the black and this will like kind of lighten it up. Ooh, I like this one a lot. Okay, this is only option 1, but we'll keep going with the spindles. Okay, now after that brief intermission, I'm gonna take some measurements of the next 3 pieces that I have to cut for this bottom trim and head outside to get that all cut down, and then we can get it attached. 42.5, 35, almost directly on the money, and then 21.25. I'm just flipping this trim on its side and doing a 45-degree angle cut. Okay, this is actually a little short, but I feel like I can cut a piece to fill in that gap. Once everything's said and done, you won't really notice it. Okay, so I had enough trim left over that I could cut a new railing piece, and then this one is absolutely perfect. So I am just gonna rinse and repeat everything I did on the first railing, where I mark out where I need to drill holes and then go ahead and get them attached. And then, you know, do sanding, caulk, all of that stuff. Let's do it. So whoever painted the doors and trim and these railings last did not do a good job, and they did not use the right kind of paint. So I had to do a lot of sanding, and I probably have to do a lot more sanding. I really want to get to the priming today, or at least the first coat of primer, because I'm probably going to have to do a few coats and sand in between because of whoever painted all of this trim and the railings last. But I just realized that before I get to painting, or I guess priming, I have to drill out all of these holes that I marked out because I have to remove the painter's tape so that I can prime this bottom piece. So I got a 1/2-inch spade bit yesterday at the store that I'm gonna use to drill out all of these holes. And then once I do that, I can prime this railing and then repeat the process on this side. The only place I am not going to drill out holes yet is the piece on the bottom half of this stair railing, because I have to double check those measurements. I don't think I did them correctly, so I'm just not sure yet, but once I am sure, then I'll go ahead and drill those out and then quickly prime this bottom half. So I'm gonna get to work. Let's try to get to some priming today. actually looks so good. Once I have this all painted, you're not even gonna be able to tell that there's a trim piece attached to the bottom. That looks really good. Okay, now I can get to priming. Good morning, guys. So it's actually been a few days. The priming of the railings took me a bit longer, and I did a lot more coats of primer than I thought. So I did a lot of priming and then letting that dry, sanding, priming, sanding, and all of that stuff. So not only is all of that work gonna really help get a nice smooth paint job, but it's also going to help make this paint as durable as possible. That is also why I used a shellac primer. I could not recommend a shellac primer anymore. Anytime I want to get a super scratch-proof paint job, I use a shellac primer. So my plan for today is to actually get to the painting. I'll probably have to do 2 or 3 coats, but not only am I gonna paint, I'm also gonna work on the floors. So I have to stain a few of the areas that I sanded back and then do a top coat. But before I can get to working on the floors and painting the railing and these end posts, I have one final area I still have to prime, and that is the railing on the stairs. So I finally think I figured out a solution that is gonna work for me to figure out where to drill out these holes on the stair railing. So I'm gonna get set up and show you guys what I got. I like how I'm peeking up through this little hole right here. So what I got is a plumb bob. This is a weight with a point on it, and then I have a piece of yarn coming up directly through the center of the plumb bob weight. So on the floor here, I've marked out the center of where the spindle needs to go. So my thought is I can just kind of mark out or match up where the plumb hits the center on the floor and then get it marked out up on the railing. I tried to calculate out the measurements, but I'm not good enough at math that I trust those calculations. I'm more of a visual learner and a visual person. So I figured a plumb bob was my best option. So I'm gonna get to work trying to mark out these holes. Okay, I have my first center. I think this is working. I think. Okay, here goes nothing. The priming is officially done. So while I let that primer dry on the underside of this railing, I'm gonna get to painting. I am using Iron Ore by Sherwin-Williams. This is the same black shade that I used on my built-ins. And I'm gonna do the same thing with painting that I did with primer, take it really nice and slow. And if I have to do a little bit of sanding between coats, I'm going to do that. I'm in love already. I think this is gonna look really good. And the best part is, I don't have to worry about this looking dirty. Yes. I know that the black is not gonna be everybody's favorite, but I absolutely love it. I also love that this is going to look clean all the time. Unlike the white, these railings were constantly dirty. They always looked dirty even when I did clean them off. This is gonna look so nice. Also, I got a little impatient, just a little impatient, and I went outside and I cut down one of my spindles just to see what it looks like. And these thin spindles are gonna totally open up this entryway and really connect the living room and the entryway. The rest of the day, I gotta get ready for installing these spindles tomorrow. So I'm gonna work on the floors. Just a little bit ago, I put some wood filler in some areas where the wood split when I was taking out the old spindles. So I think that's dry now and I can sand it back. And I'm just gonna go ahead and stain, and I'm using Honey by Minwax. I think this will be a nice match to the current stain. And then once that stain dries, I'm gonna do a bunch of layers of top coat so that it is hopefully waterproof. Once the floors are done, then I'll finish with my second coat of paint, and then hopefully everything will be done and ready to go for installing the new spindles tomorrow. Let's do it. Oh, that's actually like a really nice match to the current stain. Good morning, guys. Today is the day. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the tank is clean, and it is time to finish up this project. And now that everything is prepped and ready to go, I can install these spindles. And actually, I think cutting and installing these spindles really isn't gonna take that long or be as hard as I thought it was going to be. Also, before I go ahead and get started measuring and cutting, I forgot to mention this yesterday, I got the second option for the runner and I am in love with it. It's like a brownish gray color and I can just picture it with the black railing and the black spindles, and I think it's gonna look so good. The only reason I'm a little on the fence as to like whether I'm gonna go with it or not is because there is white in the rug, but at the same time it is like a durable, like low ply, like fiber, and it is supposed to be for an entryway, so I'm not sure. So with all of that being said, I am now going to start cutting and installing these spindles. I'm gonna start with this section over here so that I can stop worrying that my cats are gonna fall and get hurt. Let's get to work. So I'm actually gonna measure at each hole because if you didn't know this, your house is not level. And the older your house is, the more on level it most likely is. And I'm gonna also start off by cutting the spindles a little long because I can always cut more off. So that is 40, and then we'll add 3/4 of an inch because it's gotta stick up into this hole. Okay, all of those seem to be 41. Let's go get some pieces cut down. I love cutting metal, it's so sparkly. Okay, let's see if these fit. That does fit, but with the adjustable connectors that I got, this isn't gonna fit. So I do actually have to go cut these back. Okay, I just cut all of these to 40 1/4, so they should be good to go. Yeah, that's plenty of space. Now, I'm gonna stick a shoe on the spindle. I'm going to add some painter's tape so that the shoe kind of stays up and out of the way. And then I just stick one of my adjustable connectors in the bottom. And then slide this into place. Now, let's make sure this is level. We're level that way. Let's make sure we're level this way. We are. Nice. Okay, cool. So right there. And now I can take this painter's tape off, and then the shoe will come down and cover all of that up. And then there's a little screw right here that I can tighten up so that this doesn't move. Yay, we have our first spindle installed. Let's do 5 more. I just realized I forgot to do something with the first spindle. Oopsies. I'll have to take it out and redo it, but I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit of construction adhesive to the top of the spindle. Yay, first section done. Well, I still have to tighten up the little shoe around the bottom, but it is done. So now I'm just gonna quickly rinse and repeat the process with this section right here. This top section looks so good. Now I gotta get the measurements for these stairs, and I have a feeling they're gonna be really different than these measurements. I think I might be all over the place. 31 1/4, so 32, 35 1/2. Okay, so we're just going back and forth between 36 1/4 and then 32 1/4. Okay, let's go aside and get this cut down. I think I'm gonna get the first 2 cut down and then run inside and check those measurements so that I don't have to come back outside and recut all of them. Okay, I think I need to cut this down by 1/2 inch and then this one by 3/4 of an inch. So like I thought, this is going by really fast, so I'm just gonna quickly get through these stairs and I can move on to the final and biggest section for these spindles. Okay, the stairs section was by far the hardest section out of these 3 parts right here. But I know I still have one final section to do, and of course it's the biggest section and the part that's going to really separate out the living room from my entryway. But I think with what I do have done, you can really see how much more open this entryway is gonna feel with these thinner spindles. So I actually already went ahead and got the final spindles cut down for this last section, and they all needed to be cut to 40 1/4 inches. So now that they're cut, I can get them installed. And we are done. Yay. And that is it, guys. This is where I am ending part 5 of my living room and entryway makeover, and more specifically part 1 of the entryway part of this makeover. Even though I have a lot more to do, I am so happy with how this railing and the spindles turned out. And exactly what I wanted to happen happened. Even though I did take the railings and the spindles black, this entryway is now so much more open, and there's now so much more natural light that gets into the entryway because of the thinner spindles. And another comment that I got on my design video was something along the lines of not liking the contrast between white walls and a black railing. And I get that. I personally like that contrast, but also because I went with iron ore, it's not really like a true black. It's more of like a very light black or a very, very dark charcoal gray gray. So I feel like iron ore really softens the contrast between the white walls and the black railing. Also, for anybody wondering if the adjustable connectors I used are nice and sturdy, they definitely are. These spindles are not going anywhere. I am so happy I went with those adjustable connectors because they made it so easy getting these spindles installed. And like I said, even though I have so much more to do, I am so happy that the biggest project I have planned for this entryway is done, and I can't wait to continue on with all of the other projects I have planned. So I hope you guys liked this video and project. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.